Checking. The audio good? Yeah, it's probably straight. Yeah, that's true. All right, Shalom. We're the brothers from the Great Millstone Branch out in Des Moines, Iowa, and we're going to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwarash. Yahweh is the true, holy, and powerful name of the Heavenly Father. Bahashem, meaning in the name. Yahweh Shai is the true, holy, and powerful name of His only begotten Son, who is the Savior of the nation of Israel, starting off with the elect within the nation of Israel. And Israel consists of you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, as well as your Israelite foreigners scattered abroad that may look like the nations where you've been scattered to, but are Israelites. And we also want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, pushing out this word in all sincerity and in truth. All right, so we coming at you with a continuation, all right, of a live stream that we did before the Spirit Like the Wind yesterday, entitled Antiochus with AI and Drones. All right, and the Spirit had me ask this question in the chat GPT. So we're going to touch up on this, read a little bit further into it. We'll probably hit some of the same precepts and just go through the Spirit on it, man, because the times that we're in, let's actually bring out that Ecclesiastes, that which has been is that which shall be, no new thing under the sun. What we're seeing happening is this devil bringing in this technocracy. All right, he's bringing in everything leading into the implementation of the mark of the beast, all right, which is the microchip, okay, spoken about in Revelation 13 and 16. All right, and he came down with great wrath upon our people in different times, all right, under the Greeks, under the Romans, right, and this time is going to be like a time like no other, like it says in the book of Daniel, the 12th chapter, all right, and this AI, all right, this technology, the drones, all right, this is playing a part into why this is a time like no other. All right, so the Spirit had me ask this in the chat GPT. During the time of the Greek Empire and First Maccabees, Antiochus forced the real people, all right, to submit to his religion as well as the rest of the Gentile nations. He set up officials to supervise the people and to make sure compliance was to this religion. All right, you could read about that in First Maccabees. All right, he said that he wanted all people to be one people. All right, come under this. At that time, it was the order that he was trying to establish. Well, he's trying to establish. Say what? The commandment of the king. Yep. So he's establishing his NWO in this time period. All right, with this technocracy, man. All right. It says, how would this play out today in modern times in the advancement of technology, AI, surveillance, etc. All right, and we read through First Maccabees, the first chapter. I think we read 41 on down in the previous lesson, all the way to the end of the chapter. All right, and so we're gonna really hone in back into this chat GPT and just pull out some precepts on it. All right, so let's grab that Ecclesiastes again.
This is Ecclesiastes 1, verse 9. It says, the thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done, it is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun.
Right, so things that happened in the ancient world, all right, are happening again in this time period. All right, it's just modernized, man. I was just gonna say here, below is a historical, grounded and conceptual, realistic way to think about how something like the religious enforcement program of Antiochus IV and First Maccabees might look if it were attempted today. In a world of digital surveillance, AI, and modern state power, this is not predicting any real government, just mapping ancient methods to modern tools, right? And we're going to see the parallels in what's happening today in this time period with this technocracy, all right, with what was happening back then and how it's all tying in together, man. All right, so we got all the way to like point C here, all right, but we're just going to read through the first portion of it as well, since we're just, we're really going to hone in on this chat GPT to get through it. All right, but oh, yeah, so I can.
This next verse?
Yep.
This is Ecclesiastes 1 and verse 10. It says, is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It hath been already of old time, which was before us. And just to back up the point that you have said, just the ancient ways, just modernized, the way that the way that Antiochus ruled, it's his ways are like those ways are back in the earth, right? But it's just modernized with the technology.
Yep. It also said, speaking of Antiochus in the book of Daniel, it says through his policy he shall cause craft to prosper, right? Let me grab this. So there's legislation that's going down in this time period, once again, applying what we're about to read here, this Daniel 8, which happened back then during the time of the Greeks, right? This same thing is happening in this time period, man. They already got it in the books and legislation, to bring in these strict measures, all right, to forcibly, to force the people to submit, to all these various different things. The same thing that he did with the C-19, all right. They made it to where if you didn't get juiced, all right, you couldn't get access to certain things. You couldn't go to the gym without having this and having a mask. You couldn't get a job unless you had proof that you got juiced, right? Well, they're gonna do these things on a whole nother level. That was somewhat of a trial run, man. All right, but in this time period, all right, when this really gets rolled out on a whole nother level, man, when they enforce it, it's gonna be bad. All right, a lot of people are gonna fold to it. The masses of the people, they aren't going to be able to deal with the pressure, but the Lord is going to be there for his servants and for his elect, all right, to preserve them in these evil times, in this time like no other, right? So this is Daniel chapter 8. Daniel chapter 8 and verse 25, and through his policy, also he shall cause craft to prosper. So that's the legislations that's going down. Okay. It says in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart. And this devil is magnifying himself in his heart in this time. He's lifted up with pride. All right. He's trying to make himself as the most high. Just like the angels, they can see and report everything. Well, he's got his left-hand angels through the surveillance, all right, through the drones, through these cameras and so on and so forth, that are trying to collect all the information and gather it, all right, to bring in his judgments, okay, to monitor all the people, total control. He's exalted himself as if he's the most high, right?
Yeah, I got that.
Kind of, I'll finish this out. It says, and by peace shall he destroy many. All right. So he made alliances and making it seem like he's got your best interests at heart. But in reality, what? War is in his heart. All right. He's speaking sweetly. He's trying to make it seem like this is for the protection of the people. Like over there in the UK, they're dealing with a immigration problem. So they're like, you know what? To fix this immigration problem, to stop all this happening, we're going to force it to where everybody has to have the digital ID. Okay, so that you could work, so that we can help get a grip on this immigration issue that we're having, these illegals that are coming in and so on and so forth, right? So it seems like he has good intent, right? That's the message that he's pushing out, but he has ulterior motives. War is in his heart, right? He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. And applying in this time period, what's going to happen? This devil is actually going to try and fight against Yahweh Shai, man. Okay? He's going to literally, look at this devil's insane. He's going to try and fight against the Lord, right? And this nigga going to get broke. You know what I'm saying? It says that his place shall be found no more in heaven. So just applying into this time that we're in, once again, this is going back into during the Greek Empire, right? What was happening, right? But, okay, this thing is that which has been is that which shall be, like we read in Ecclesiastes, man. But you got that precept?
Yep, this is 2 Thessalonians 2 and verse, let's see.
That's what is it, 8?
No, you can start at verse 3, really.
Yeah, 2 Thessalonians 2 verse 3 says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall come.
Shall not come.
Oh, it says, for that day shall not come, except there be a falling away first, and that the man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition.
Right. So we had to go through our falling away, all right, because you had our people at this time period. There was an expectation that when the Messiah would come, that what? He would establish Israel being on top of all the nations, all the promises, right? So then they had to let him know that, look, there's more prophecies that had to come to pass, okay? He said that day shall not come, all right? Us being on top, all right, Yahweh Shai's return, okay, where he's going to subdue all the nations, right? Except they're coming falling away first. So we had to go through Deuteronomy 28:68, okay? We had to go through all the curses, and, we had to be brought over here to the land of the Americas, all right? We had to go through what, man? Being completely discontinued from our heritage, our land, and forgetting who we are and everything. There was more prophecies that had to come to pass, right? That our forefathers had to reinforce and let them know that, look, it's not going to be in this time, okay? It's going to be in these latter days, right? So it says that they shall not come except there come a falling away first, which is what happened, man. We got kicked out of the land. All right, you had that persecution of our people during 70 AD, right? Then Jake fled into the interiors of Africa, all right, Spain, Portugal, and so on and so forth, man. All right, then we came over to the land of the Americas. The southern kingdom, the northern kingdom was already in the land of the Americas, right? And then what happened, man? all right, when the northern and the southern kingdom were being oppressed together, all right, that's when that clock really started, man. All right, 1619, all right, to what, 1969? All right, when Elder Abba Bivens came on the scene, who is Elijah the prophet, John the Baptist, and the reincarnation, all right, which that's when the spirit of life entered into us. So this is all according to prophecy. So more had to be, done, man. But then also what? It said that what? And that man of sin be revealed. And this is what's happening, man. The man of sin, Esau Edom, is being revealed on all fronts, man. Through the prophets out on the highways and byways, his own tongue is falling upon him. All right. Everybody's recognizing as them little hats as being the wicked of the earth. All right.
Problem of the earth.
The problem of the earth, man. So all this is happening in this time period, man. It says that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, man. All right, but you got it back.
Verse 4 it says, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worshipped, so that he as the Most High sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High. Right? And that's what he's doing, man, through his left-hand angels, right? His satellites, he's trying to bring in that digital, he's trying to bring in his digital age, right, to where he has eyes everywhere, right? He's trying to go subdermally under your skin, right, to see and to like know how you feel, right? As what Noah Harari said, So he's trying to push himself to be the Most High, man. He's trying to sit in that seat.
Yep. Just typing this in Google, because I meant to bring this out in the previous one. All right, because there's a few articles that got the quote of it, but let's see this. All right, WEF. So this is from December 18th of 2020. All right, let's see what if he says it right here. Okay, hold on. Let me turn the volume up real quick. Because this has been in the mind of these devils, man. All right, so he's the head of the WEF. All right, and he's talking about what subdermal tracking. Everybody's talking about these different things, man. Let's see. Okay.
This community is very important. We, the World Economic Forum, greatly welcome the launch of this roadmap and share with Secretary General Guterres and Special Advisor Hochschild so fit to learn how to live differently, to learn and some video streaming services have grown 20-fold.
I wish it just had the subtitles.
For those who are connected to the internet. However, today, 30 years after the invention of the World Wide Web by Sir Tim Berners-Lee, this stands at just 53% of the world's population. Many individuals and populations in emerging of the 25 least connected countries in the world's key immediate act also in our fight against COVID.
All right, I thought this was the clip where he mentions about the subdermal tracking.
I got one right here. He said, I got some.
Okay, go ahead. You can pull that up. But this is just showing you that this is where everything is headed, man. All right. They want to bring in, all right, this digital, all right, this, not just digital IDs, but the literal microchipping of everybody. All right. That will be your digital ID. And that's why all these nations are moving over to the digital ID, because that's going to be easily transferable to those C-hips, man. All right. But you can go ahead and.
This is a quick clip I screen recorded a while ago.
The fourth industrial revolution will lead to is a fusion of our physical, our digital, and our biological identities. So that's the first.
Yeah, he said the fourth industrial revolution is a fusion between our physical, our digital, and our biological identities.
Mm-hmm.
Just tying that in with the agenda that Esau got coming and what we've been talking about. It's all prophecy.
That's right, and this is what John saw on the island of Patmos, man. All right. A system where people had to get microchipped, okay, to be able to function within society, and everybody that didn't have it, all right, they were ostracized, man. This is what he was seeing, and this is what he was warning us in these last days, man. the Lord, you know, allowed him to see those things to warn us in these last days. All right. So you finished that verse, right?
Huh.
All right. So let's go back to this. So it says what Antiochus did in First Maccabees summary in the 2nd century BCE. Antiochus the fourth outlawed ish religious practices, circumcision, Sabbath, Torah observance, forced participation in Greek religious rituals, placed officials in every city to monitor compliance, right? Used military force against non-compliance, and this is going to happen again just in this digital age, right? It says destroyed copies of scripture and punished those who kept the law. Right. And this has happened throughout times, man. All right, where the books will be burned. You know, Ezra had to go back and rewrite. He asked for the Holy Spirit, you know, to be able to rewrite all the writings of our forefathers that will be needed for us in these last days, man. You know, so that we can have this, man. So, you know, this is a very heavy thing, man. But this has happened. So why that which has been is that which shall be, man. All right, I think that it's over in the UK where they're banning certain Bible apps, you know, and you're seeing different things being talked. How, you know, this and now it's an extremist book because of certain things written in the Bible. So you've been hearing little rumors of it here and there. All right, but eventually they do want to get rid of what the use of the scriptures, man. All right, the use of the Bible. You know, they don't need the Bible in this new age, man. Okay. You know what I'm saying? That's why they have all these different dystopian movies where they're burning all the books. You know what I'm saying? So what? They're rewriting information, rewriting history. You had Esau for a time. You know, he was getting slavery out of the textbooks in high schools. Or I know they were doing that over in Texas, you know. And now with everything being digital, he could wipe everything, scrub different things. That's why when you go on Google, all right, they'll filter certain information and then it makes it more difficult to find information, man. All right. Different truths, right? There was things that, you know, our apostles and elders used to bring out on lessons, you know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, right? That you could just, you know, type in and find it. And now it's hard to find. Okay. Now they're scrubbing certain things, man. That's what he did in the Renaissance period. The Renaissance period, what did he do? All right. He took all the dark images, whitewashed them. All right. He was taking the noses off of all the different statues of Jake, you know, so you couldn't recognize that it was a Jake, and then bleaching them. He was going forth like all in, you know what I'm saying? So how much more in this time period in the end, right? It says this was a combination of legal suppression. So that's things that are being put down in law, right? Cultural assimilation and physical enforcement, right? How something similar could function today. It says below is how each major tactic of Antiochus might translate into 21st century mechanisms. Outlawing religious practices, digital enforcement of behavior. And once again, we read through all the way to point C, but we're just going to read through this. A modern government could enforce religious conformity through digital ID, central registries, right? And that's what we're seeing, man. Everybody moving over to a digital ID. Every citizen is tied to a digital profile, right? That was that clip from the guy from Spain that you were speaking about, man. You know, as a matter of fact, I know I can find it.
Yeah, because he was going into how, hey, if you're going to be using the internet, you need to be tied, right? Your profile, or whatever you're using on the internet, it needs to be tied to your identification. You could have your own username, and you can go by what you go by, but in the case of, you know, in the case of you know, you saying something they don't want to hear, it's going to be found out that, hey, you're that individual who said it.
Yep. I'm thinking, I can't remember which brother. I think I did a lesson on it. As a matter of fact, because I would want to play that clip real quick. Let me just see.
I think I seen it on Manatazabas.
The Elder Manatazabas. Okay, this was speaking about yeah, if you find it on your phone, I thought I did a lesson on it. You know, because everything is, yep, I know. It was MOTB, digital IDs to the MOTB. Let me just type that in real quick. Digital. It might have been on the brother Hopeful Elect. Hopeful Elect, 144. Let me just type in MOTB Salakia, because that clip, it was heavy. MOTB. Where's the, man, just do it for me. It's recent? Sheesh. Yeah, I'm gonna find that clip real quick, Salakia. Just type from digital IDs to the MOTB, right? Now, arrows of indignation. Okay, I'm gonna just go to his page real quick, because this is gonna tie right in, because everything that this woman is gonna mention in this clip, all right, it's a social credit system. You know, they're already doing it in China and everything like that. And this is what we're moving towards, right? So let me play this clip. Narrow train. Okay, here we go. And I'm gonna just get to this. Now, this goes into the interview. This is the interview. Everybody should know about this, man. This interview, okay, where he was pretty much letting you know that the elites, all right. I forget which Rockefeller it was. Okay, Nick. Yeah, Nick. Russo. Yep, and Aaron Russo. You know, but nevertheless, you know, he has spoke about how they want to see-hip everybody, man, and they want total control, and this is how they're going to do it. All right, but I'm gonna just get to where she gets to speaking.
Stop printing money. They can cause the biggest depression that ever happened in this country. Food, travel, internet, social media, communications, energy usage requires a valid digital ID, without which you are locked out.
So she's talking about a system of what? The digital ID being used, all right, and without it, you're locked out of the system, right? And this is what the AI overview was talking about, how you can be locked out of this system without having it. And this is what they're moving forward with, all right, with this whole digital, this technocracy, and eventually the market of beasts, which is the microchip, right? So
travel, internet. On the other hand, if they choose to stop printing money, they can cause the biggest depression that ever happened in this country. Food, travel, internet, social media, communications, energy usage requires a valid digital ID, without which you are locked out. This has already happened in China and actually a lot of Asian countries. 86 million people in Vietnam have lost their bank accounts because they refuse to comply with digital ID.
Right, and imagine that, you know. Here it is, you know, you got money saved up and everything like that. You ain't got no access to it unless you get this digital ID, which is eventually going to be what? The MOTB. All right, you just had a few more states that had come into compliance with Apple or accepting Apple for their what is it called, man? Well, for their digital ID, linking that all together, you know. So now everybody in the States, now they're moving forward to the digital ID. Now that's going to be the new thing. Everybody's got a habit to do this and that and the third. You know, they got it to where we've been speaking about it, but to be able to travel, all right, you had to have those real IDs with the star on it.
Yep.
All right.
Real IDs. As a matter of fact, to even go inside government buildings, now you need that real ID.
Right. Mm-hmm. Damn. You know, so and then now they're saying how they're going to charge people, all right, that want to travel. If they don't have a real ID, you're going to get an extra charge of like $18 or something like that. You know, and this is just gradualism leading towards the implementation of this MOTB system. All right, or of the market of beasts being implemented, man.
Okay, so we're seeing this already, and there's other countries. In China, hundreds of thousands of people are basically, they have nothing. They're just out on the streets because they lost all of their social currency. Meaning they can't function in society anymore. These are people who've had digital ID, but because they did not like what they were posting and things that they were doing, or they didn't meet certain requirements, these were just working, healthy people, not criminals or anything like that. And then when I show you what is being said here and done here, in comparison, it's going to shock a lot of you. So let's continue. Once that situation is in place, the conditions of validity can be set to whatever they want. Didn't take the latest experimental mRNA vaccine? Digital ID invalid. Posted misinformation on social media? Digital ID invalid. Social credit score too low? Digital ID invalid. exceeded your carbon allowance this month? Digital ID invalid. Voice criticism of your new technocratic overlords. Digital ID invalid. If we allow our governments to succeed in rolling out digital ID, we will end up living in a giant open-air digital prison from which it will be virtually impossible to ever escape. So
Right, and that's what they're trying to make it, okay, to where you can't escape, you can't function, you can't do anything unless you have this MOTB. Total control. And they're rolling out these digital IDs, which is just a prelude to that. Okay? And they're gonna enforce these things, man. All right? On a whole nother level, man.
And we see Esau, he deals
No, you got it. I'm trying to pause this.
he deals with gradualism. So it's just, this is all that is going on right now, is different things that is laying the foundation for this system that Esau wants to have put together. And we see everything going cashless. We see the workless registers or whatever. I don't know what to call them, but you go to the stores and you don't got cash register people anymore. You got machines doing different things for you. You got the palm scanners. You got what was taking place during the C-19 event. You had to scan your head or scan your hand to get into certain buildings. Like I was working at Amazon, and they was doing that at a certain point. They would scan your head before they walked into the building.
Yeah, to check your temperature, so to speak. Yeah,
check your temperature. It's like this is all gradualism in the spirit. It said the scripture speak about how we not ignorant of Satan's devices. So Duwadi Bashim Yahshua for giving us the ability to recognize these things and tie into biblical prophecy. It says where there's no vision, the people perish. So a lot of these people that don't got this vision, they're going to fall right into the trap that Esau is laying out so subtly. He calls him a cunning hunter. Says that he was the most subtle beast in the field, roughly paraphrasing. So this is what we're dealing with.
Yeah. I'm gonna read that precept you quoted. This is the book of Proverbs 29 and 18, where there is no vision, the people perish, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he. Right? In the NLT, it says, when people do not accept divine guidance, they run wild, but whoever obeys the law is joyful, right? And this is what's being given, divine guidance, okay? Because if you aren't guided, all right, through the proper counsel, through the Holy Spirit, through his men, all right, you'll end up taking that micro C-hip and being destroyed. And there's no repenting from it. There ain't no, I'm going to take it out. There ain't no, I'm going to cut my arm off now. You know, it's like, nah, you get that, it's a wrap. You know what I'm saying? You know, completely rejected to the Lord. It don't matter, you know, what you do after that point. And this is what we've been warning about, all right, starting off with our elders and apostles, man, for decades. Okay, and now we're here. At the end, it shall speak and not lie. So these things are speaking clearly, man. I'm going to play a little bit more of this, and then you can play that clip, and then we'll get back to the chat.
That we are in the end times. This is it. When you compare what I told you about what's going on in Jerusalem, building of the third temple, just the laws that are being put in place, these things that are secretly working behind the scenes, the 2.5 trillion spent in just a couple of months for these for Project Stargate, the huge AI data spaces, data centers that are going up all over the country. 2.5 trillion is something none of us asked for. We don't need that kind of power for anything right now unless there will be 100% surveillance on every single American. This is going to be worldwide. There's no place that you're going to be able to go to escape. Let me just say this clearly.
Right, and that's what's happening. It's worldwide, man. All right, total surveillance. Okay, they want full compliance from everybody, and if you ain't trying to comply, then shit, then they trying to kill you. You know what I'm saying? You know, but you can go ahead and play that clip. You was gonna say something about?
Spirit had me thinking of these different shows that they have. Like it's like Black Mirror. It's like they show all these things before they do them. But that was just in my mind to say, right? Again, we not ignorant of Satan's devices.
That's right. That's right. Go ahead. Now, what's this from?
This is from the World Economic Forum. It says Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez demands the end of online anonymity, calling for every social media account to be linked to an EU digital ID wallet. And it's on Jason A's channel. If you want to play it from there, or I can play it.
Well, yeah, shoot, I can just play it from here. It is real quick. Yeah, what's the name of that video?
It's called Let's see. It's called It's Here and We Were Warned.
Okay. Yeah, he did that one like 2 weeks ago.
11 days ago, yeah.
To anonymity on social media.
All right, so fair use. All right, we ain't getting no money off of this, monetary purposes. It's just educational. You know what I'm saying? So don't be all tweaking on us, man. All right, taking down all our videos and shit. Sheesh. All right, but fair use, man. All right, we ain't getting no money off of this. All right, just spiritual riches. You know.
In our countries, no one can walk the streets with a mask on their face or drive a car without a license plate. No one can send packages without showing an ID or buy a hunting weapon without giving their name. And yet, we are allowing people to roam freely on social networks without linking their profiles to a real identity. This paving the way for misinformation, hate speech, and cyber harassment, because it is facilitating the use of bots and it is allowing people to act without being held accountable for their actions. Such an anomaly cannot continue. In a democracy, citizens have the right to privacy, not to anonymity or impunity, because with those two, social coexistence would be impossible. That is why I believe we must push forward the principle of pseudonymity as the functioning element of social media, and force all these platforms to link every user account to an European digital identity wallet.
Right. So, and that goes back to a social credit system, man. They want to link your social identity, all right, to what, man? Your digital ID. So then you can be cut out at any point for what you're putting on social media. Now they're pushing it forward to, you know, make it seem like we're trying to help or hate speech and this and that and the third, next one Z. But nah, this is all about control, man.
Total control.
Total control, man. I'm going to go ahead and play this portion at a normal level.
Push forward the principle of pseudonymity as the functioning element of social media, and force all these platforms to link every user account to an European digital identity wallet. This way, citizens could use nicknames if they want, but in the case of a crime, public authorities would be able to connect those nicknames to real people and hold them responsible. Because accountability is not an obstacle to freedom of speech. It is an essential complement to it.
Well, many have started paying for things with our phones, even watches.
One company, though, wants to take that technology to another level by implanting a chip in your hand.
Right there.
So, the overseas company Wallet More is selling the microchip in parts of Europe. It's about the size of a grain of rice, goes under the skin, it's then activated using a digital wallet app. The chip is going for about $300, and the company says at least 200 people have gotten them implanted already. I would have many questions for a doctor.
Right. So you see, that's what it is, man. Okay. This is what it's all leading to, man. All right. This has been the agenda the entire time. Okay. To move forward to where everybody has to get this micro C hit, man. All right. So we're going to go back to the chat GPT. Okay. So going back to this point, outlawing religious practices, digital enforcement of behavior. A modern government could enforce religious conformity through digital ID, central registries. Every citizen is tied to a digital profile. And that's what he literally just said. We need to tie everybody's, social media, all right, create a digital profile, man, and link it to their digital ID. Literally just said it, all right? It's like these niggas might as well just start reading the scriptures. All right, we're about to cause all, small and great, rich and poor, to get this microchip, all right?
Put that in a commercial.
You know what I'm saying? They pretty much quoting the precepts, man. It says religious affiliation or compliance is tracked, monitoring, right? Access to service could depend on following mandated cultural norms, right? They're doing it in China already. They're showing you that they're doing it in the UK. All of that is going to be made worldwide, man. It's coming here, all right? It says AI pattern analysis. Algorithms flag attendance at places of worship, religious gatherings, religious purchases, books, clothing, ritual items, online speech or posts, defending banned beliefs. So everything is being monitored. Things are being flagged. right? AI makes the surveillance Antiochus require automatic, not dependent on local officials. Okay, officials in every city. Automated surveillance plus local enforcement. Antiochus placed physical officers everywhere. A modern government might instead use real-time camera surveillance. Okay, cameras are everywhere, man, tracking everything. Smart city cameras with facial recognition. All right, we spoke about the movies like Code 8 yesterday, where they were scanning everybody's face and, you know, it,
And they got it. They even got it inside the WalMarts. Now you go inside certain aisles, right? They're picking up your facial recognition in a certain stores. Like the cameras are seeing you, and you can look at the cameras looking at you.
yeah. It says tracking who meets whom and where they gather, alerts if prohibited assemblies occur.
They was doing that, the tracking who meets whom and where they gather. They was doing that during the C-19.
Yeah.
For like
Gatherings of more than like, I can't remember, like 6 people or something like that. You know?
trying to so-called keep track of the where the virus was going.
Yep. It says alerts if prohibited assemblies occur, and what they were doing is they were pinging like they were going using like Bluetooth. All right, they were pinging where certain outbreaks were supposed to be, and then they would ping like, okay, who was all in this vicinity? All right, based off of the phones that they were pinging with the Bluetooth and everything like that, man. All right. So then it was like you could end up being in lockdown because they found out that you was at this concert and 5 people had got the C-19. All right, and they knew that you was there because they pinged your location through the Bluetooth and all that, man. You know, so they was doing that back then during, the C-19, man. Okay, so they're going to be monitoring and grabbing people up and, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, these things aren't far-fetched at all.
Yep. It says alerts if prohibited assemblies occur. Digital police dashboards. Enforcement officers receive automatic notifications. Potential unregistered worship detected at location X. All right. Algorithmic compliance scores. That's your social credit scores. Citizens could be ranked on attendance at state-approved events, and they're already doing this. Okay. See, like for example, people that are getting fired from their job. All right. That's pretty much saying that you fell below your social credit score, so now you're getting fired from your job, okay? They just haven't implemented an actual number system in this society yet, man, okay? But people getting fired from their jobs, they're already showing you that with these entertainers. They're pretty much on a social credit system, all right? They have to comply and do certain things, and if not, they lose endorsements, they lose money, you know what I'm saying? They getting canceled. Well, they're not talking about just canceling an entertainer because he said something. Now this nigga got to go apologize to get his social credit score back up so he can make money again. You know, well, they did that with Snoop. I think Snoop Dogg, said something against them alphabet people. Yeah. All right. They brought that nigga's social credit score down, proverbially speaking, man. All right. And then the next thing you know, next week he dropping that. He got an album with a song with an alphabet nigga. And now he's endorsing it and everything like that, so that he could keep his money. Right? So he can personally not agree with these different things. But what? If he's posting and showing it, everything like that, well, now you out of your job. Now you out of your money. So this isn't going to just be on a high level with, entertainers and everything like that. They're showing you what they're going to do. All right. They did it with Kanye. Okay. This nigga went from a billionaire to a millionaire just based off of what he said about them small hats some years back, man. Okay. They made him bow the knee to the small hats. All right. So this is where we at with it, man. They're going to do this for all the citizens, man. It says citizens could be ranked on attendance at state-approved events, consumption of state-approved media, avoidance of banned behaviors. Those who fall below a score might be visited by authorities or questioned, right? And so they're going to cast some out of their houses like we read, man. All right. In the last lesson,
They had a video not too long ago of some authorities visiting this dude's house based off of what he had posted. I think it posted about the Ish people.
Yeah, he did. Yep, I know what you're talking about. Yep. He was posting about the Ish people. 2 of the officers came to his house. They was being all friendly. They were like, yeah, we were just wondering. We saw your post, so they got sent there. Then he snapped back. He is like, I mean, do you have the right to be here and everything like that? But it ain't finna be no going back and forth, talking, pleading with him. No, they gonna start kicking down doors and just snatching people up, firing squads, niggas just getting put down, you know. See, the gloves are still on right now, man, to a degree. All right, but the gloves are gonna get taken off to where people is really gonna get some real affliction, all right, some real hell put upon them on a whole nother level, man. All right, and this is what we've been warning about at times like no other.
This is Isaiah 59 and verse 19. It says, "So shall they fear the name of Yahweh from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun, when the enemy shall come in like a flood." And that's that was like a prelude to what y'all, that account that y'all just mentioned with that dude had the dudes coming to the door, like the authorities coming to him. It's like that's gonna be up. It's gonna be on a higher scale in these times that we coming into. But it says, when the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of Yahweh shall lift up a standard against him. So the enemy is gonna come in like a flood, right? These things are gonna get ramped up, but the elect, the servants of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, they're gonna be protected and guided throughout these times. The Lord gonna do different things on their behalf, and Esau not gonna be able to do nothing against them.
That's right. It says the heathen shall envy thee, and they shall be able to do nothing against thee, man. All right, because the Lord is with us. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 124. All right, in verse 1, a song of degrees of David. If it had not been the Lord who was on our side, now may Israel say, if it had not been the Lord who was on our side when men rose up against us, and the Lord has already told us that men are going to rise up against us, man. A great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord, right? So this is going to happen, okay? They will be coming after us. That is okay. The Lord got us. The standard is promised. We're going to be all right.
It's all a part of the Lord's movie.
That's right. That's right. We just got to strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee. So we got to have the mind to resist, pray to the Lord, you know, to strengthen us and, you know, keep the Holy Spirit upon us so that we can endure and keep our faith. Because if you keep your faith, that's a crown of life laid up for you, man. And he will come in and defend, right? If it had not been the Lord who was on our side, when men rose up against us, then they had swallowed us up quick. And this is what's going to happen. Jacob's going to get swallowed up, all right, in the transition, okay, to this NWO. All right, the chaos that's going to ensue. This is judgment coming on from Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. All right, Jacob's going to get swallowed up in judgment, man. All right, it says, let judgment rain down as waters in the book of Amos 5 and 24. Right, so this is going to go down. Then they had swallowed us up quick when their wrath was kindled against us. Then the waters had overwhelmed us. The stream had gone over our souls. So this is what would have happened if it wasn't for the Lord to be on our side. So this is why we're fighting to continue to please the Lord, to do which is right in thy sight, so that we can get divine intervention and protection, all right, in this new system, all right, and this, you know, of what's about to come down, because without the Lord, you're going to be through, okay? You're going to get, you know, they monitoring everything, tracking everything. You're going to need divine intervention. You're going to need the Lord to intervene and show forth power. That's the only way we're going to get up out of here and be preserved, is the Lord intervening on our behalf, man. All right, it says, fear not, thou worm Jacob. A worm has no defense, all right? All this nigga can do is wiggle around. Fear not, thou worm Jacob, for I will help thee. So our help is in the name of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, and in him giving us mercies, man. Because as we're seeing, you're not going to be able to escape this system, man. Okay, without the Lord, you know. And brothers be having dreams, man, where all types of dreams where troops be coming in, all right, and then they see the troops and it's like the troops don't see them, you know. Or they be in the building, it's like nobody know the building is there, and it's like they can't see it, but the Lord got us covered, you know? Because even when you go into that Isaiah, the 59th chapter, it says, when it said that standard being lifted, you go into that word. Actually, I'll go to it real quick. It talks about to make to disappear. And a lot of brothers be having dreams where it's like troops coming in, they can't see them, you know? This happened, nobody's, you know? The Lord is going to intervene, man. All right, in this system where they're tracking everything, surveilling everything, it's going to be the Lord to why them niggas can't find you.
Right,
you know?
Right. You're going to be a camera panning, and then right when you think the camera sees you, the camera actually shows nothing.
Yep.
You know, they be showing that in like movies a lot of times.
Yep, it's a movie I'm thinking about, man. Is it the movie?
Mission Impossible? I know that one.
Yeah, that might be. It might be another one though. With I don't know why I got Denzel in my head, but it was one where it was like a surveillance system. But then whenever this woman would appear, none of the cameras could pick up on her. It was like she was invisible.
Yeah, that was,
you know.
Yeah.
It might have been a non. I forget the name of it, but
everybody had the chips in their head, and they was able to like the police was able to look at a person and see their whole profile, but then they looked at this girl that didn't that wasn't basically in their system, and they didn't know nothing about it. She was basically anonymous on their grid or whatever.
Like
Yeah.
a hacker,
Yeah, and that's what, and the Lord's gonna be doing things like that for us, man. All right, the Lord might have it to where they come in, they didn't, you know, the Lord allowed them to track you and everything like that, find you, they coming in, and then next thing you know, all right, you pray and cry to the Lord, all right, then next thing you know, you in a whole nother city, you and your family just teleported, man. The Lord did that with Habakkuk, brought him to Daniel in the lion's den, all right, then brought him right back. How many times we read about the Lord teleporting, you know, in the New Testament, man? Then immediately they was at the sea. Then immediately they was here, so on and so forth, man. The Lord was showing spiritual power, you know. He'll disappear, you know, out of the crowd, out of a sudden, all of a sudden, man. So the Lord is going to do things like that for his servants, man. You know, so we have nothing to fear. See, the left hand got power, but the right hand is way more powerful, man. All right, you know.
I'm thinking of that time with Elisha and his servant. When that troop came in, that army came in to get Elisha, I believe it was Elisha, but the Lord had the chariots around about them, and he ended up blinding that army.
Yeah.
And it's like this is the same power that we're dealing with today. You mentioned how the right hand power is stronger than the left hand. We've seen that take place in Egypt when Moses had his power being shown, and those Egyptian magicians had their power being shown, and Moses' power overpowered theirs. Right, his snake ate their snakes. But,
That's it. So this word for standard, all right, in that Isaiah the 59th chapter, it says what? To flee, escape, all right? To flee, to escape, to take flight, depart, disappear, right? So that's a part of the standard. In this system of total surveillance, total tracking and monitoring, right? To be able to disappear off the grid, you know, through the spirit. This is a part of how the Lord is going to preserve us, man. Because they're going to be able to see and track everything, but how is it that they can't see and track us in certain instances, man? All right, the Lord is going to intervene, man. All right, but hey, woe unto him that believeth not. All right, therefore shall he not be defended. So you got to have faith. All right, because once again, if the Lord ain't with you, you're going to get swallowed up in these overwhelmed when this flood comes in, man. Back in Psalms 124:5, then the proud waters had gone over our soul. Blessed be the Lord who hath not given us as a prey to their teeth. Our soul is escaped out as a bird out of the snare of the fowler. So keep in mind the type of power the Lord is going to have to show, all right, for us to escape from this complete digital surveillance system of everything being tracked and monitored, man. All right, to be able to escape and be protected and preserved in that, the Lord is going to show forth mighty power, man. Like it says in the book of Micah. All right, this is the book of Micah. I've been quoting it a lot.
it says strength coming from heaven. So ain't no strength again. No strength can come up against what the Lord got going on.
Yep. That's it. This is the book of Micah, chapter 7 and verse 15. It says, I'm going to start at verse 14. Oh, Lord, protect your... This is in the NLT. Micah 7 and 14. Oh, Lord, protect your people with your shepherd's staff. Lead your flock, your special possession. All right, we are the Lord's. We're his special possession, right? It says, Psalms. It says, touch not mine anointed and do my prophets no harm. All right, you know? So the Lord is going to keep his servants hedged and protected, and they're only going to experience what the Lord has it ordained for them to go through and experience, man. It's all in the hands of the Lord, right? It says, though they live alone in the thicket on the heights of Mount Carmel, let them graze in the fertile pastures of Bashan and Gilead as they did long ago. Verse 15, yes, says the Lord, I will do mighty miracles for you like those I did when I rescued you from slavery in Egypt. So the Lord is going to show that type of power. Man, he had hell mingled with fire come down upon them Egyptians, man. You know, he gave them, 3 days of thick darkness. He parted the sea on our way out of Egypt. You know, mighty miracles on our behalf for us. He separated us and had us in Goshen, you know, while them Egyptians was catching all types of hell and destruction. So this ain't nothing for the Lord, man, to keep us and preserve us and watch over us in the midst of these evils, man. All the nations of the world will stand amazed at what the Lord will do for you. They will be embarrassed at their feeble power. All right. This technology that he has, in comparison to what the Lord is going to do and what he has, this is feeble. This is nothing. Why do the heathen rage and imagine a vain thing? All right. The Lord shall laugh at them in the heavens, as it is written.
It said the Egyptians are flesh. Their chariots are flesh and not spirit. It reminded me of that one clip of that news. I don't know what it was, an interview or whatever, but they was talking about the chariots of the Lord, and they was going into different qualities of them, and they mentioned how those chariots that they seen, what the world calls UFOs and UAPs, is thousands of years more advanced than anything that we have available, and it's more than that. We know that through the Spirit, but it just shows the power that we're dealing with. Esau is not going to be able to do nothing against the Lord's elect.
That's it. It says, all the nations of the world will stand amazed at what the Lord will do for you. They will be embarrassed at their feeble power. They will cover their mouths in silent awe, deaf to everything around them. All right. So, that's what it is. The Lord said, yeah, man, I'm going to do mighty miracles for you, man. All right. That's a reassurance. Like, bro, don't trip out. I got you. Don't even worry about it. You know what I'm saying? I just want to read in the KJV. According to the days of thy coming out of the land of Egypt, I will show unto him marvelous things. Marvelous things, man. All right. So we have no need to fear. Okay. So back in Psalms 124 in 7, our soul is escaped as a bird out of the snare of the fowlers. The snare is broken and we are escaped. Our help is in the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, who made heaven and earth. Right? The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and is safe. All right? And is safe. So that's why it says, he that nameth the name of the Lord, depart from iniquity. You got to have those names. There's no other name given among men whereby we must be saved. So if you on the comment board talking about, I'm in Jesus, all right, Yeshua is coming, or you talking about some Yahweh, all right, you might as well get your country ass up out of here. All right? And it's like, nah, bro, you got to call upon them names, man. All right? That's the key to salvation, man. Deliverance. All right, it's calling upon the true name of the Father and the true name of his Son, man. All right. So going back to the AI overview, it says, let's see, where's we at? All right, so promotion of state religion, control of media. Yeah, we read all that. It says AI generated content. Antiochus pushed Greek religion and culture. A modern equivalent might attempt to reshape beliefs through state-controlled media ecosystems, news, education, entertainment, promoting the new ideology, right? So you already know that he uses his propaganda machine through the media to push out all these different ideologies, right? To get people to comply, all right? It says censorship of religious teachings. AI-generated cultural saturation. AI tools generate propaganda, children's educational material. And over in the schools over there in Texas, they already got pretty much AI schooling, okay? Where you got AI teaching the material and everything like that. And then you just got a teacher as I forgot what they call them, man. The assistant pal or something like that, where they're just kind of there, but they're phasing away with all of that, man. And AI is going to be, being enforced to teach and to do all these things. And this is moving quickly. Once again, we was talking about it in the previous lesson, man, that Donald Trump, what does he say? We're in the race, man. We're trying to beat China. All right, China is under a full surveillance state, my nigga. So it's like they're trying to beat that. They're already there. They're trying to go beyond that. So it's gonna be all hell in America, man. All right, Babylon the Great, bro. It's gonna go out with great violence. All right, great distress, great turmoil, great perplexity. All right, it says rewritten religious texts, ideological social media bots. Now they got AI Jesus. You could chat with him. You know what I'm saying? All types of stuff, man. It says ideological social media bots. The goal would be to drown out traditional religious thought. All right. So D, destroying scripture, digital censorship, digital deletion, religious materials blocked on the internet, ebooks removed from devices, cloud accounts disabled if they store banned writings. And this is the importance of constantly, being immersed in this word so that this is in you. Okay. What if they get rid of all the Bible apps?
Yeah.
All right.
To touch upon that point, I had looked it up. It said UK had banned Bible Gateway, which
Yep.
is like the most accessed Bible tool on the internet, and they said they banned it because it for their Online Safety Act.
Yep.
which goes to show, like, hey, they put in the writing to what? To censor and to get rid of religious materials off the internet.
Yep. I'm gonna type that in real quick. UK bans Bible Gateway. All right, let's just pull that up real quick. So it says Bible Gateway is not officially banned in the UK, but its service was temporarily unavailable in the UK, EU in September 2025. Nah, that ain't even the one. Let me see. Because I know I remember reading an article about that, and it's happening in various different places as well. Let me see, current status. That was unavailable. Maybe it was another platform as well. Let me just type it in like this. Pulling an repository, you be looking it up right then and there on the spot with you. Okay, banning Bible apps. Let me just put this in. Bible Gateway. Okay, this is one too. The European Union is censoring the Bible. Without announcement of fanfare, the European Union regulations around privacy and data have recently led Christian and conservative apps. Let me just read this real quick. The UK Okay, I'm gonna read that next thread once. All right. Let's see. The European Union is censoring the Bible. When it comes to threats to freedom of religion and speech, the censorship that comes from court cases and arrests tend to get the headlines, but there are increasing concerns that over-regulation, often undertaken quietly behind the scenes, is starting to impinge on these fundamental rights. Without announcement or fanfare, the European Union regulations around privacy and data have recently led to Christian and conservative apps being banned or blocked in the Apple App Store. All right, the Alliance Defending Freedom highlighted 3 instances of this censorship, with the Seekers, show being blocked on podcasts, but you're seeing this happening, incrementally or gradually, throughout all these different nations, man. Okay. I just wanted to read that one real quick, But yeah, you can do some further, further research on it, looking it up. Okay, let's just play this real quick.
No longer can we access the Bible online through the Bible Gateway. Why? Bible Gateway is an online subscription that gives access to the Bible for Bible studies, for preaching, resources, etc. All of a sudden, finished. Is no longer. In the UK and EU, no one can now access it. Very suspicious that. Are they trying to stop us Bible studies? Why? What? They're saying it's due to the Online Safety Act. Well, what's not safe about the Bible? That's not that. And possibly technical issues. Funny you can get it other places, but you can't get it in the UK and EU. Absolute rubbish. They are trying to stop us by studying the Bible now. That's how I see this.
Right. So that's all I'll play on that, But whether they say it was because of technical issues for that time or whatever, we already know that this is what things are leading into, man. Okay. This is what it's all leading into, man. They're talking about how now it's a hate book, and you had different cases here in the United States where they're trying to say that, the Bible needs to be banned because of this, and it's been back and forth about, about the certain things that's in the text, or it speaks against the alphabet community and everything like that, so they're already moving forward with all of this, man. All right, so I'm gonna get back to this chat GPT. It says religious materials blocked on the internet, ebooks removed from devices, cloud accounts disabled if they store banned writings, algorithmic suppression, search engines and social platforms automatically suppress scripture references, religious keywords, apologetic content, criminalization of encryption. Private possession of religious texts may still exist, but encrypted communication or underground networks are heavily penalized. All right, punishment for disobedience, economic and social pressures, rather than immediate execution, which it will lead to that. All right, it says a modern state might use freezing bank accounts. Have we not heard of reports about this happening, where individuals' bank accounts have been frozen because of things that they posted on social media?
As you mentioned earlier with Kanye.
Yep.
He was real, I mean, we all seen what he was posting, against them ish people.
Yeah.
Guess what? Like you said, he dropped down to a whole different tax bracket, basically overnight. Bank accounts frozen. He said that he couldn't use his Apple Wallet anywhere, and
Yep. It says non-compliant individuals suddenly cannot buy food, travel, or work. All right. So that's what them getting you out of the system. He calls it all. All right. It says cannot buy food, travel, or work. Digital backlisting. And what are you gonna do? See, in that, it's like, what are you gonna do? Okay. See, if you don't trust in the Lord, you ain't gonna have no option but to take that C hit, man. All right. You have no hope in anything else. Motherfuckers ain't living off the grid like that. All right. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers don't know how to go in the woods and, build them a house or whatever the case may be. See, back in the ancient world, we had skills of, knowing how to do these things where it didn't matter if, we didn't need, all right, I'm in this apartment, it's cool. I get kicked out of my apartment. Oh, well, I know how to build. I know how to
make a
hunt,
shelter.
Back in the ancient world, you know how to make a shelter and everything like that. It was like the whole earth, it was your home. Okay. You just needed to know how to utilize the earth to create these different things, man. These people is not finna go, living on the streets, all right, if they've got the access to get a C hit to be back in a state of comfort, man. All right. If that's what it takes, once again, majority of the people are going to take it, man. All right. It says digital blacklisting. Their digital profile is marked as a religious extremist, and job applications auto reject. Travel permissions denied. Health or welfare services restricted. And this is why the remnant is not going to stay upon him that smote them, but he's going to stay upon the Holy One of Israel in truth, trusting in the Lord. The Lord is going to provide and keep us in the midst of all these things. It says, seek ye first the kingdom, and all these things shall be added unto you. So we're relying on the Lord to, get us through this, man. Predictive policing. AI flags people likely to resist based on social circles, online history, attendance patterns, right? They showed you that in I forget which movie it was. All right, but the plot of the movie was you had this individual. He was an officer, and he was sent to as AI will predict somebody of committing a crime before they did it.
Minority Report.
I think that's what it was.
Tom
Minority
Cruise.
Report. Yeah, yep. And then they ended up accusing him, saying that he was gonna commit a crime.
Report, yes,
So they're gonna be doing these different things. Oh, now because of this history, you're a high level threat. You ain't even do nothing. Okay, but they're predicting that you'll do it, and based off of their AI and their intelligence, that's just so smart and everything like that. That they can justify doing that, man. All right.
They kind of do that in China, with their social credit score system. You have a bad credit score or you have a low credit score, all right? Like you're literally projected across the city, like your name and everything's projected across the city, and you're kind of looked at as like be on the lookout for him, or like you're kind of looked at as like outcast,
Mm-hmm. It says attendance patterns, authorities intervene before disobedience is committed. It says the main difference between then and now. So once again, this is just saying what was happening during the Greek Empire. All right, imagining it happening and with this modern AI technology and so on and so forth. And that nigga was going crazy, man. Antiochus, bro, they was hanging infants, as we read in the book of First Maccabees, man. You ain't want to eat the swine. They was putting people to death, So they're going to have these C-hipping stations, and anybody that don't want to comply, put them down. They're going to move full head of steam with this program, with this system, and this is going to be happening, rolled out quick, as we already see it happening, man. This nigga been in office not even a full year yet, and everything is already getting technocratic in this mud. AI everywhere, all right? Damn dog robots, all right? Now the damn police officers, they're using drones now, All of this, man, happening quick, all right? It says... the modern system will rely on automation. The biggest shift is ancient enforcement was local and manual. Modern enforcement will be centralized, digital, and constant. What required human effort under Antiochus could now be carried out by AI surveillance networks, digital monitoring, centralized databases, predictive algorithms. All right, meaning control becomes not only more efficient, but also more invisible. All right. And then it goes into how it would be with a modern Maccabean, resistance. But let me just jump down. Let's see. Okay. So it kind of goes into a scenario of how things could, play out. If it was applying it to a modern scenario, like I said, year 2039. But I'm not going to read through all this. You could type it in Chat GPT, see what it says, or read further more on this. But that's all we're going to read on that. Let's just grab this in the book of Revelation. If you brothers got anything else, and we'll end it off in this.
With the Revelation 13, verse 11.
Yep.
I'll wait till you get there.
No, you got it. You can start it.
This is Revelation 13 and verse 11. It says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon.
Right, he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Right, so back in the ancient Roman Empire, you had the plebeians and the patricians, right? And this time, what? You got the Democrats and the Republicans. And what are the purposes of the political parties, man? They're supposed to be in benefit for what? The citizens. That's why it's set up to where you're supposed to vote, the different officials in the parties in place and everything like that, because they're supposed to bring in your policies and ideologies that you would want. That's what it's been presented as, right? But what? They're all working for the agenda of the elites to bring in this system. All right, like we always say, left wing, right wing, don't matter. It's the same bird moving in the same direction, okay? So they got these people caught up in these political back and forth and so on and so forth. All right, but everybody's moving at the same agenda, man, okay? You got Trump blaming everything on the right, on the left, and then, vice versa. But it's all theatrics, man. They're all moving in the same direction, man. And when you go into this word dragon, all right, it goes, it'll say Dracon, right? And then we're going to go into the draconian laws, right? A dragon, a great serpent, a name of Satan. All right, it says Dracon, right? Now, I'm going to just look up draconian. Let's see. Okay, so it says draconian, of pertaining to Draco, the ancient Greek statesman, 1777, in reference to laws, rigorous, extremely severe, or harsh. All right, it says Draco is Latinized form of Greek Dracon, right? A Latinized form of the Greek Dracon, and that's the same word that's used in that Revelation. Once again, all right, it's Dracon, right? So going back, it says, name of the Archon of Athens, who laid down a code of laws for Athens, 621 BCE, that mandated death as punishment for minor crimes. All right, So, and we're going to see these things, man. Even you had Donald Trump talking about, because of the political video that the Democrats had put out, slighting him. He is like, they need to be punished, they need to be put to death. So you got your president, all right, talking about people need to get put to death because it's speaking against him, So this is what it's all leading into, man. Full surveillance, total control, you know what I'm saying? All of that, man. All right. But you could jump down to the Mark of the Beast.
This is Revelations 13 and verse 16.
Actually, read 15.
Revelation 13 verse 15, and it says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, and it says that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
Right. So if you aren't down with this system, okay, if you aren't down to worship, okay, it's going to lead to what? You getting put to death. This is what is being pushed. Okay, this is what's being pushed. It's going to get this bad, man. All right, but keep reading.
It says verse 16. It says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads.
Right, which is that microchip, okay, that they was talking about is already being used to scan, this right here. Everything's going to lead to all this information being put on here, all right, and you can't function in society without it. All right, go back.
Verse 17, it says, and that no man might buy or sell, save that he had the mark.
Save he that had the mark.
Save he that had the mark or the name of the beast, or the number of his name.
That's right, man. You know, so this is the system that's being rolled out, man. Like, it's very plain. It's very plain and it's very clear, man. And if you can't see it, then it wasn't meant for you to see it. All right, it's probably meant for you to get it. Okay, to partake in the judgment. As a matter of fact, let's jump over to read that judgment. Revelation 14.
9.
Yep. It says, doom for worshipers of the beast. You know, you can read it.
This is Revelation 14 and verse 9. It says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand.
Right, so if you get this micro C hip, right, go ahead.
The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation.
Mm-hmm.
And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb.
That's right, man. And that's talking about here in the Americas, man. Okay? You get that micro C hip, you here in Babylon, bro, oh, it's a wrap. All right? You know, you're going to burn in that lake of fire. Okay? You know? You're just straight up and down, man. All right? You're going to burn in that lake of fire. So this isn't something to be playing around with, having gray areas about. You know what I'm saying? Not being sure about, man. You take that MOTB, all right, you're going to be destroyed, okay? Plain and simple.
And it says specifically, whosoever receiveth the mark. And you had mentioned earlier, it's not no taking it out, it's not no doing this or doing that. It says clearly that those that receive it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take it, that means that you're going to receive the wrath. You receive the MARK, you're going to receive the wrath of the Lord.
Mm-hmm. That's it. It says, in the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night. Who worship the beast in his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name, man. So that's it, man. You know, that's it. So, you know, I ain't got really nothing else on it. You know, that was pretty much, you know, just wanted to touch up on that, man. Seeing those comparisons of what was happening in the Greek Empire in this time period, how it would play out, you know. But, yeah, man, it's going to be bad. All right. It's going to be bad. And if you ain't standing on that rock being Yahweh Shai, you ain't rooted and grounded in the proper doctrine, the proper way, you know, in the proper counsel, right? Oh, yeah, you're going to be through. You know, so take this time seriously, man. We're getting closer to the hour of temptation, and we need to have our spirits built up to be able to endure and stand. All right, as the scripture says, having done all to stand in the evil day, you know, making sure that we're walking in a way that pleases the Lord, man. You know, so that's really it, man. You brothers got anything else?
I'll hit this real quick. This is Jeremiah 30:7. It says, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. So, like, again, we've been going into this time that's going to come upon this earth like no other. And like Paul just said, we gotta build ourselves up now so that we can endure those things, build ourselves up through the Spirit, right? And the Lord going to deliver us from these times.
That's right. In the NLT, in all history, there has never been such a time of terror. It will be a time of trouble for my people Israel, yet in the end they will be saved, all right? And nigga ain't never experienced a robot dog chasing his ass, man. You know what I'm saying? That ain't never happened in history. You know, the surveillance drones just, you know, popping niggas off, man. All right? That's the modern warfare, man. You know, niggas just, you know, they sending drones here and there, assassinating people over there in the, over there with them little hats, all right? Dealing with Iran, they always assassinating the nigga with what? Drones, all right? So that's really it, man. Through the Spirit, Lord's will that was edifying. We're going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakak, Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, pushing out this word on sincerity and the truth. With that, we're going to say shalom.